Good morning, Intenders.
Good morning.
Welcome to Morning Intentions. Today is Tuesday, January 20th. Annette, I have this sense that you're chomping at the bit.
I have been chomping at the bit for a day. When we said the curiosity question for yesterday, what feedback is your life giving you? I thought, I wish this could be a longer podcast. You know, I used to have a longer podcast. I wish this could be a longer podcast. I wanted to share some real concrete examples of how our life gives us feedback. So that's what we're going to talk about today. The first way that our life gives us feedback is what we tell our clients when we're going through what's been happening in their lives, whether it's a new client or a client that we haven't seen for a while, or now we have our 2026 personal development program. One part that we share right away is it's important to look at and recognize patterns. Patterns are information. When we can start seeing a pattern, we may not know exactly what's going on or how to heal from that situation or how to bring healing into our lives so that the patterns don't continue. It's very important to be able, though, to recognize these patterns. An example of a pattern would be repeated emotional reactions. So if I'm feeling frustrated about over here, and then I'm feeling frustrated over there, and I'm feeling frustrated when I'm with this person, and then I do well, but then I'm frustrated over here. What's going on? Look at your repeated emotional reactions, because if you're feeling anxious, if you're feeling frustrated, if you're feeling sad, if you feel like you don't have a sense of belonging, I don't know what the feeling is, but if you can articulate what the feeling is, and if things are so overwhelming that you can't get to a specific feeling, you can go with the top 5, the mad, sad, glad, embarrassed, or afraid. You can start there. When I am sitting in my meeting at work, I feel embarrassed. When I'm sitting in my meetings at church, I feel embarrassed. When I go to a family reunion, I feel embarrassed. Okay, that would be an example of pattern. So then what we do is we then go and look closely at where is this embarrassment coming from within you. Also, familiar relational dynamics.
That sounds technical. Could you explain what that is?
Well, yes. What that is if I go here and I feel alone, even though I'm with a bunch of people, and then I go over here and I feel alone, even with I'm with a bunch of people, what's going on inside? Or if I find myself fighting with a lot of people. We had a client years and years ago, so it's no one we know now. No one we know now at all. It was years ago. She came in and she had 10 different people, whether it was an ex-partner, family members, friends, everyone that she brought up. It was I do things for them and they don't even thank me, and then they expect me to do more. And they get mad when I don't do more. It wasn't one specific friend. It was every person that she talked about.
So then that would be a pattern.
That would be a pattern. Okay, so what's going on in your life where you meet these people, you marry them, you make them your best friend, or you're close to this family member, and you do things for them, and then they basically take advantage of you? What's going on inside of you? Because just like you kind of made a Freudian slip at the beginning of yesterday's podcast, Ada.
I did?
Well, about the fixing others. And it's no, actually we can't fix others. But, and I was,
yes,
I was happy.
I remember that, yeah.
I was happy that you did that, because then we could talk about this. But okay, so what's going on in this woman's life that she is experiencing this over and over and over and over again in life? Because she can't fix the other people, but she can fix how she shows up. She can learn what she's doing. some people are in the habit of allowing people to take advantage of them. Well, okay, so you have no boundaries. Let's learn some boundaries. Let's learn to listen to your inner ug. Let's learn to take responsibility for your emotional health by not allowing people to misbehave in your life.
I'm glad we're talking about patterns, and I can't remember if we've ever brought patterns up this specifically on the podcast, because it's something that we look at in coaching. If you do the same things, you're going to get the same results. That's one of those universal truths. If you do the same things, you're going to get the same results. And part of looking at what is life telling us, what is life sharing with us, what are our hearts sharing with us, if we're in the same situations, even if the characters are different, if we're having the same emotional reactions, if we're doing the same thing, like overgiving or being taken advantage of, we're going to get the same results. We're going to feel the same things. We're going to think the same things. It's going to end up the same. And like I said, the people may be different. The characters in the story may be different. But if the basic framework or the basic outline of what's happening is the same, and we show up in the same way, it's just going to turn out the same. So a great way we can disrupt or interrupt all of this is listen to our hearts, listen to what life is telling us, and then do something different. You keep coming back to we can't fix other people. We can't make them do anything. We can't make them change. We can ask them. We can make a request. We can try to collaborate with one another and change what dynamic is going on. But it does come back to how are we going to show up differently in these situations that feel familiar or seem similar to what we've been through before.
What catches people up with patterns is they believe, like if you're really caught in an unhealthy pattern, you can believe if you were better, the other people, even though you're coming in contact with the same sort of interaction with people, the relational dynamics are the same. You can believe that, well, if I would be better, then I wouldn't be experiencing this. Like we've had many clients tell us, well, I'm the common denominator, so it must be me.
That breaks my heart whenever someone says that.
Yes. And I want to make sure when we're talking about these relational dynamics, yes, you can look inside and say, well, what am I doing? Maybe I haven't had the boundaries that would be important. Maybe I've allowed people to walk all over me. And you make a change and you learn where that originates inside of you. However, that doesn't take away the other people's responsibility for how they're showing up. So we're not saying, well, we're going to give that person over a pass who treats you really poorly. We're going to give them a pass because, well, if I just had boundaries. No, okay, yes, you might need to learn boundaries, but that doesn't excuse the other person's poor behavior. We can shoulder and take on the poor behavior of other people and think it's something about us, where it's really, well, they need to show up differently. They need to show up better. And that's where we can attract people who misbehave sometimes when we're not healthy ourselves. We're only responsible for healing our own lives and becoming responsible and saying to ourselves and knowing that, well, if I enable poor behavior, it's just going to continue. But that doesn't give the other people a pass. If I would be different, then they wouldn't be doing what they're doing. No, actually, they're probably going to do whatever they're going to do. They've just come with you because you took it and you've taken it over and over and over again. That's one really important concept that I want us to make clear here when it comes to relational dynamics. We're out of time for today, but I have one more. Here I have to chomp at the bit for another day. Well, I have one more that I do want to share, kind of caution about familiar relational dynamics.
Okay, I can't wait for tomorrow.
Neither can I. I wish we could keep going today.
But for today, we're going to have another curiosity question as our intention. What emotional reactions do you see repeating in your life? What emotional reactions do you see repeating in your life? We're building awareness of the patterns that show up in our lives. Thank you so much for joining us today. Our day is always better because you are part of our day. See you tomorrow.
See you then.